And Calvin Robbins said something that actually quite shocked me, and I would be interested to know what your thoughts are, because I'm generally defending people like Calvin Robinson and Lawrence Fox, people like that, and saying they're not extremists. We talked about Nigel Farage being called an extremist by an idiot the other week. But what Calvin Robinson said, which I was really very shocked of, he said, I want all, he didn't caveat that with anything. He said, I want all Pakistani Muslims, what's the word I'm looking for? Deported.
Yeah.
I believe all Pakistani Muslims should be deported. He then went on into a long explanation about how, because of inbreeding in Pakistan, they have the highest percentage of deformities, mental illnesses or whatever. And he said that's part of the reason the NHS has been impacted, because of the massively higher proportion. And also, apparently, this is what my wife told me later, and I'm pretty sure this is true, the biggest percentage of immigrants, or the biggest number of immigrants in the last 5 years have been from Pakistan. This is not illegal immigrants, by the way. This is approved immigrants, basically. So I went from having no view at all on Pakistani Muslims to being presented with a whole bunch of ideas in a very short space of time. From Calvin Robinson, that he believes they are such a heinous curse on this country, they should all be deported. B, they have various levels of illnesses as a result of inbreeding within their communities in Pakistan, such that this is an impact. This is impacting both on their society, but also on the National Health Service. And C, that they're the biggest immigrant group we've had into the country in the last few years. So all three of those things, those views and those actual statistics, if you like, I wasn't aware of.
So I know for a fact the top three countries for immigration to the UK is Pakistan, India, Nigeria. I don't know where they are in the top three. So if he says Pakistan's number one, it might be number one.
Yeah.
Inbreeding. So Pakistani community have a big issue with first cousin marriage. And the reason why they have a problem with it is because it's tribal. Tribes want to stay with themselves, so you'll marry your cousin because that keeps the wealth in the tribe, and we're all tribal and we're all going to look after each other. We don't want outsiders coming into our family, so people marry their first cousins. Huge issue in Pakistan, huge issue in the Pakistani community in the UK. Over 50% of all severely deformed babies born in the UK are Pakistani from first cousin marriages. Over 50%.
You're joking?
No.
50%
of all severely disabled babies born in the UK are Pakistani first cousin marriage.
Wow.
So you can imagine.
Why do I not know this?
I don't know.
No, you gave me the wrong answer there. The media won't allow us. The media don't talk about it.
Mainstream media, we never talk about it, but I watch other stuff, and this has been known. We've known this for decades. This is new.
I wasn't trying to show my ignorance there. I was hoping you'd say the reason you don't know about this, Lindsay, is because this is suppressed by the mainstream media.
So you can imagine the impact that has on the NHS, just for the babies.
Yeah.
But these babies now need care for the rest of their lives, paid for by the NHS.
Wow.
And benefit system. We also spend now a couple of billion now on knife crime in the NHS. Why? Because we import other cultures that are stabbing everybody. So the NHS pays for other cultures and mass migration. We're paying for it. Deporting Pakistani Muslims. So the first thing I'd have to ask him, or ask you, would be, did he say deport all British Pakistani Muslims, or deport all Pakistani Muslims?
All Pakistani Muslims.
So what he means there are people who are not British citizens.
Yes, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that, how extreme is that? I don't know.
Although I think no, because I think Lawrence Fox asked him the question, he said no, all Pakistani Muslims.
That's a bit we need clarifying.
Yes.
Did he mean British Pakistani Muslims? And I'd be shocked if he meant them.
That's the bit I don't. So as an Anglo, as a half Indian, second generation, potentially, if my dad had been a Pakistani, he's not. But if he had been, that would mean I would be deported.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's why I was shocked, I think.
And him. What happens if we then say...
Well, he's not Pakistani.
No, if we said anybody of Caribbean heritage because of the violence.
Yes.
Well, is he going to be deported?
Yeah.
So I think he means foreign nationals. Pakistani foreign nationals. I'm defending him now, but I don't know what he said.
Yeah, but he should have clarified that.
So that needs clarifying. If he means British nationals, people born in this country of Pakistani Muslim descent, then the answer is no. Right? Unless they've got dual citizenship and they commit a horrendous crime.
Yeah.
Then you deport them.
Yeah.
If he means, we need to have a conversation over the next 10 years. Let's say we stop mass immigration tomorrow.
Yeah.
The next conversation is who stays?
Yes.
Because I don't think they all stay.
No.
I think we need a conversation where we need to say to many people, time you went home. Time you went home now, back to Nigeria. Take your family with you. Time you went home, back to India, back to Pakistan, back to Poland. I don't know who these people are. I'm not sure what the metric would be to decide who stays, who's gone. I'm giving that no thought because I'm never going to make that decision. So waste of time. But,
you never know, Nick.
But there will be a time where we need to start saying to some people, you all need to go, you need to go home.
I mean, Lawrence Fox seemed quite shocked by this because I don't think he doesn't have those extreme views. I think he was quite shocked by the direction the conversation took. The only thing I would say that's of interest here, and by the way, I don't have a view on this, but I need to do more work on this because I didn't even know about the 50% of severely deformed babies. Yeah. I didn't. Again, as you say, why don't you know about this, Lindsay? Not because I'm ignorant, Nick, but thank you for protecting me. It's because I've never been made aware of these stats, but clearly Calvin Robinson has, or I'm guessing he has.
From what I can remember, this figure might be wrong. I think it's something like 25% of all Pakistani Muslim marriages in the UK are first cousins.
Wow.
25%.
How many Pakistani Muslims are there in this country?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's the 4 million Muslims in the country.
Right. And how many of those are Pakistanis, a majority?
I don't know.
And are the Pakistani Muslims the ones who are in places like Oldham East and where did we have the grooming gangs? Rochdale.
Yeah, Rochdale. Yeah.
Is that Are those Pakistani Muslims?
Predominantly, because something like 78% of everyone arrested or convicted for the grooming gangs were of Pakistani Muslim descent.
So presumably his comment, there's an informed knowledge behind Calvin Robinson's comment here.
Yeah. I think he means...
non-British born.
Yeah, I think he means new immigrants.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 years we've imported several million Pakistani Muslims into this country, and I think he's saying they all need to go on.
Wow. Now, what's quite interesting is Geert Wilders is now the most prominent politician in Holland. He says exactly the same thing about the Moroccans, Moroccan immigrants. So what we're seeing now, which is something we've not seen for a long time, is people like, respected people, like Calvin Robinson, like Geert Wilders has got to be respected. He's won the votes of the people, hasn't he, in Holland? Actually making statements, not general statements, but specific statements about racial types or I'm looking for that answer. Racial or country-based groups to be deported.
We've seemed to have lost track in the West that just because you come here doesn't mean you have a right to stay here. And we think now, once you get to a country, you can stay there. Well, no. You're always a guest in that country. Always a guest. And when the host of that country decides they don't want you anymore, they have every right to throw you out. And that's been the right of every country ever to exist. The last 50 years, we just seem to have forgotten it. But we will remember it over the next 10, 20 years. And I foresee across Europe, the UK, America, there will be deportations. How many, I don't know, but there will be deportations.
I suppose the thing that I'm finding difficult to deal with, and hopefully our gentle viewers can comment, is both Calvin Robinson and Geert Wilders are identifying a racial group as opposed to...
they're identifying national groups,
national groups. So then, of course, of course, we hate the way all conversations go back to Hitler and the Jews and everything like that. But isn't that what happened with Hitler and the Jews? He basically attributed characteristics and behaviours to a racial, to a national group. I'm choosing my words probably not carefully enough at the moment.
Yeah.
And then as a result of that, that group were then
persecuted,
exterminated, or whatever it might be. What is the difference, if there is a difference?
Huge difference. A huge difference is Jews were German citizens and had lived there for generations and centuries.
Yes, correct.
What these new politicians are talking about are guests in our country.
Right.
I come to your house for a meal.
Yes.
And I decide not to leave.
Yes.
Are you a racist kicking me out? No, you're the host. It's your house.
Yes.
You invited me in.
Yes.
You have every right at any time during that evening to say, Nick, it's time you leave now.
Yes.
And that's the difference. And that's what...
Although the last time you were around, you wouldn't leave.
I wouldn't leave.
I'm joking. Yes.
So there is a difference. I can see people being worried about it.
Yes.
And the optics won't look good, because when we say there'll be deportations, who do we mean? We mean black and brown people. Of course we do.
Yeah.
Because they come from the third world and they're the ones we want to get rid of.
Yeah.
We won't be deporting Americans out the UK. We won't be deporting French out the UK. It will be people from India, Nigeria, Pakistan, and lots of other countries. And they'll all be black and brown countries. So the criticism of racism will be easily made. And for people who are not deep thinkers, it'll look like it is racism.
Yeah.
Because why are you only deporting... Well, no, it's not about that. It's about they're the ones who are on benefits the most, who commit most crime, who are culturally very different from us. They're the reasons why we're kicking them out.
And that's what Geert Wilders was saying when he was quizzed by these left wing.
Did you see the stats from Paris the other day? I think it was Paris. 78% of all rapes in Paris are immigrants.
I have heard something that is shocking, isn't it?
78% of all rapes in Paris, immigrants.
Wow. And it's happening in the UK, that, by the way. Geert Wilders, who was being interviewed at the time by a progressive media type, and the problem with these progressive media type journalists now, because they've never been challenged properly, when they are challenged by something like Farage or Geert Wilders, they just wipe the floor with them. And the guy said, aren't you being racist? He said, well, no. And he reeled off a bunch of stats, as you just did then, about Moroccans specifically committing something like over 50% of crime now in Holland, all these different things. And he said that's why they need to. And the journalist was like, just sit there and shut up, basically. He couldn't answer the question. And I think Calvin Robinson's arguments sound like the same, basically. So there's parallels there. But I think Calvin Robinson, whether he'd seen Geert Wilders say this and said, look, this is the real issue here, and I'm going to address it head on, I was quite shocked.
He needed to clarify what he said a bit better.
Yes. Maybe, you know him, so you could email him and ask him. If you could watch it, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you watch it, it would be good. So I just thought it was really interesting, but very interested to hear your views on it, really. Because I don't think you've really said, that's outrageous, how dare he. You're saying...
Not if he means foreigners.
Yeah, you're saying there's an argument there based on...
It's going to come.
Yeah. That's
it's going to come over the next 10, 20 years.
I'm surprised, Nick, because I actually thought you might have reacted differently to that. So that's quite interesting to hear you react to that. And it's got me thinking now about this. Because my initial reaction was, that's extreme. But then I'm just wondering now, is this because I've been, again, I still haven't been fully de-brainwashed from everything yet.
I wouldn't be for deporting any British national who were born here.
Well, that's a threat to me, and it's a threat to you, isn't it?
Yeah. My dad was an immigrant, so I wouldn't be for that.
Yeah.
But anybody who came here and... as far as I'm concerned, is still a guest in this country.
Yeah.
Then we have every right to ask you to leave anytime you like. Did you like that video? I think you did. Hit the bell, give it a big thumbs up, comment, and don't forget, I'm standing for election in Oldham, East and Saddleworth. So please share this video, speak to your family and friends if you live in Greater Manchester, and if you live in Oldham, East and Saddleworth, make sure you vote for me. Catch you soon.